My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons, thank you patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. Just one title today, and it's all of the bigger sentences boiled down to the phrase, an essence of its own. So that's the title, an essence of its own. In the MMP, POV, Pilates has an essence of its own. And what's best about that is that the essence is an experience, something you can feel. And that experience comes in the midst of, or in the pursuit of, performing the choreography, either in its original form or some variation of that that in some way resonates to the original form. And so MMP is just one POV out of mine, yours, and everybody else's. In this POV of MMP, Pilates has an essence of its own. And that's just one POV out of everyone else's. The point is to know what you know. KNYK. KWYK, know what you know. And what you know is at least there's one point of view out there that has a theory that explains what that essence is. And that's in contrast to the predominant expression of Pilates and transferal of Pilates through folklore, through word of mouth. There's folklore and there's theory. There's word of mouth and then there's explanation. And it's in the explanation of Pilates that it underpins and supports whatever else you're doing and beyond what it is in its own right. Pilates has an essence of its own. Knowing that there is that explanation of that essence can be horrific if you don't want one, but can really help you survive as a Pilates instructor if you know why Pilates is what it is. We've talked about that before. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, but connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. And then know how to make an offer to explain something for over this much time for this much money, paid in advance. And I was looking on that second sheet, the turnover. I talked about this maybe just on Facebook yesterday. On the back side of that sheet is the title of method of payment. Payments accepted, like. If it's paid in advance, how is that person going to pay for your presentation? The answer to that question would be on the back side. And there's always cash. I like PayPal a lot. I've used Western Union, and a friend of mine talks about Zelle, which I see ads for on television. So I went to my bank and attached Zelle, so I can now send and receive money through that channel, that pipeline. And fascinating hearings today about Facebook's method of payment and what they're pulling together by way of a method of payment with a cryptocurrency underneath it. A lot going on there, but methods of payment and being able to accept payment from someone for the presentation you made an offer on that they've accepted or that you've negotiated to where you've accepted, but not the payment in advance part. Just forget about it if it's not payment in advance. It's an important learning thing about the nature of the information that you're giving. And if someone isn't willing to pay for an explanation of what that is, knowing what it's about and what the names of it are, then their interest level isn't high enough to make it worth you to exchange the value of your time for the presentation. It's one line of thought. I know there are others. It comes back to surviving. For me, Joseph Pilates was a survivor. So have many people told me that knew him and worked with him. And they all mean that in some way that has their own understanding of the word survivor. Usually that's based on what they've been through in order to survive. And using that, for me, as an understanding of the person, and looking at his method then as survival training, it starts at the thread of the beginning of what is easily and truly the epicenter of what everybody calls Pilates these days. Joseph Pilates, that's where the word comes from. So it all depends on what you want to know and what you want to care about and what you want to focus on. Know what you know. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, connect the dots, evaluate points of view, make an offer to explain something for an amount of time, for an amount of money paid up front. Doesn't have to be huge. You just have to get paid for it. Before you deliver the presentation. Be Aretha Franklin. Let them go watch or get a different explanation of biomechanics and a point of view of Pilates. Because that's all it is. And then, in making the offer and having methods of payment that are available to anyone and everyone, you get paid for what you do. And you get paid in advance for being a presenter. And if they liked it all what you had to say, they immediately want to start taking lessons, which involves you as a teacher and then an instructor. my point is, in a world where Pilates covers the globe now, and everybody's content and enthusiastically embracing Pilates in a culture of folklore, where it's all word of mouth being passed down, and the inherent then idolatry of those from which it came and passed through. MMP is a theory that Pilates has an essence of its own. You have to direct your own thinking. Geist.